Welcome to Tackle Talk Live. I'm Ranger Daiwa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with V&M General Manager and Tournament Pro Kevin Jean. Kevin, we've got to wrap up a huge event that just took place at Sam Rayburn, but we also got two great events that took place at Toledo Bend as well.
We really do. We have a lot of tournament action to cover, Steve. And, we talked last week on the show about the FLW event and how we thought it was going to be a real fireworks show. And it was. Now, they didn't catch the weights all of us expected.
Right.
But it was a really good tournament. It was a really good tournament to watch because of all the different techniques going on. So we're going to dive into that. And I think it was very interesting for sure.
It really was. And both, especially Sam Rayburn, both of these bodies of water, Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn, but mainly Sam Rayburn for the last month, has gotten a lot of pressure. So these guys kind of showed up at a body of water. The FLW Tour Pros showed up at a body of water where it had a lot more pressure on it than it was the year before. So, but no matter what, they still figure out how to catch them.
Absolutely. Now, before we dive into this, Steve, let's go back to last week when we made our little picks.
Yeah.
And, just want to say how close I was on my
close,
pick. My guy finished third that I picked. Where'd your guy finish?
I don't think he finished. I didn't know he was in the tournament.
So
I never saw him on the sheet.
So from now on, when we make our picks, we need to have a side bet. I don't know if it's lunch or what you want to do, but I think you owe me lunch this week.
Be
just
careful
saying.
what you ask for now. So.
I understand.
But anyway, and our good friend Daryl Gleason had a great tournament. Actually was in position to win the whole thing, had opportunities, and had only one slip up, he said, that might have cost him. But, that happens in every event. You're going to lose one, you're going to gain one here. And
I think everybody in the top five did probably.
Yeah.
I know Tommy Dickerson, who finished second, he had a couple big fish on the final day that he might have could have walked it down as well. But, the weather threw these guys a big curveball, and I think that's what really affected the bite, affected their practice. I mean, the wind was blowing so hard in practice all 3 days of their official practice that they couldn't hardly get around the lake. So,
and not only that, we had probably every weather change you could ask for.
You really did.
I mean, it got from warm when we were there a week ago to all of a sudden a cold front comes through, drops it into the 30s again.
28 one morning in practice.
One morning, and then they had rain come in. Then it got cloudy. Then the sun popped out a day. I mean, it's just every gamut of weather. I'm surprised they caught them the way they did.
And to go through that on any other lake, you would never have had these weights.
No.
To go through the weather changes they had, to still have these weights under the weather conditions they had is very, very impressive.
Yes. Yep. Let's wrap up the first one, FLW Tour. Again, John Cox is the winner, Kevin. Let's talk about each one of these top three guys and what they did.
So Cox had a special spot, and he caught 21 on day one. I think he had right at 20 on day two. He had two big bags. So I was in my, live hadn't started yet, so nobody really knew where he was fishing.
Right.
So I jumped on live Saturday morning, and first thing I look up, and he's at the 147 bridge.
Exactly.
Probably the most popular spot on the entire lake.
Yeah. Biggest community hole in the entire lake.
Exactly. And when I saw that, I said, "Oh, he's going to struggle on Saturday and Sunday with so many other tournaments going on,
right.
So many other boats on the water, especially running by him right there. I thought he's going to really struggle, and he did. He struggled in that spot. Saturday, I don't think he caught but a couple off that spot.
Right.
And the first 2 days, he caught every fish on that spot that he weighed in. Saturday evening, he ran back towards the boat ran back towards Umphrey. He coiled at the dam, cranking the dam.
Right.
He made one other coil very late in the day that helped him get up to what he had on day three. Steve, he's throwing it's a flat-sided bait.
By Fritz, David Fritz.
That's something that don't get thrown on Sam Rayburn very much.
No, actually what that bait is, because David Fritz was the guy behind the old Pose crankbait. And that Pose crankbait, matter of fact, I should have brought one. I've got several of them in there, but it's basically a replica of the old Pose crankbait. When I saw what he was throwing, at first I thought it was an old Pose, but turns out Fritz is making that new bait. Berkeley is actually making that bait for them right now. And but that's the one he was throwing.
But Steve, John Cox is among the top on all levels anywhere right now in the world.
Yeah.
One thing that won Cox the tournament yesterday that I feel like that he's able to do, not many others do, I guess it was about noon yesterday. He ran about 15 miles above 147 Bridge to a place he hasn't been all week.
Right.
As soon as he gets there, he makes 3 straight coals in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
How many other anglers do you know that's leading a tournament up and says, I think I need to go up there and catch him, and can do that?
And you and I both know as tournament anglers, decisions on, especially on a final day or the day of the event, that's where you win or lose it. It's not necessarily what bait you're throwing. It's the decisions you make to go to another spot that may not have been hammered like the rest of the lake had been hammered.
His ability to read water and make the right decisions is second to none.
Yeah.
That's why he is who he is, and has done as well as he's done at an early age. He's only 34 years old.
Yeah. I saw a quick documentary on him in practice. FLW did a little video of him practicing. He woke up late. He got a late start and had trouble with his electronics on the front of his boat. And by the way, he fishes out of an aluminum boat, which I did not realize that. But he's had all kind of issues with his electronics. But he's a shallow water guy to begin with, Kevin, and he loves shallow water fishing. That's his specialty. That's what he's good at, and that's basically, he just went out, put the trolling motor down, and went fishing. And because he called his wife earlier in the week. He told her, he said, "Look, y'all don't need to make reservations to come here on this weekend because I'll probably beat y'all home." But turns out he found them.
But again, it goes back. They had so many conditions, and John made the adjustment every single day to the weather.
Yeah.
He let the fish tell him what to do,
right.
and he is the best at that, and that's why he went on to win this event.
Right. Tommy Dickerson finished second out of Orange, Texas. Kevin and I both know Tommy. We fished against him quite a bit in the BFLs and different things that go on over at Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend.
I have given Tommy a lot of money.
Over
the years.
I have too. I've signed some checks over to him as well. He had 63.8, and was basically a little over 2 pounds behind the leader, and he had a $30,000 payday. But Tommy went to an area that I really like, is Bear Creek, and he had very little competition over there. He knew that from the very beginning. Had
no other competitor boats in there at all.
He had local knowledge of the lake. He knew that Bear Creek wouldn't be hammered because it's muddy over there a lot, and muddy water tends to run a lot of anglers off. And me and you, I fish Red River, so muddy water doesn't scare me. It doesn't bother me, but he really got in there, and he put anchors down, and he started throwing a chatterbait the first couple days. But the final day, he made that adjustment.
And for you that watched live, the adjustment got him in the second. He was in 5th place to start the day. He got there at morning, was throwing a vibrating jig, and just never really connected on anything. He picked up a swim jig. Yep. And Steve, he started putting them in the boat automatically. Yep. And he put them in the boat all day long. That morning, everybody was struggling. Nobody was really catching any fish, even the deep guys that had been wrecking them every morning. Tommy picked up that swim jig, and he went to work. He really did.
Yeah, he did, and he had another great day. But again, his adjustment on the water there almost took him to the top.
It really did. I think he had a couple shots. He lost a couple. He lost 2 big fish. I know I watched on live that if he'd have got both of them in the boat, he would have scared John Cox, if not taken over the lead.
Exactly. All right. Our good buddy Daryl Gleason was sitting in second going into the final day. Basically rode in second the whole tournament behind John Cox the whole event. Probably had the most consistent bite out deep the first 2 days, but then everything changed.
Daryl's game plan was, hey, it's with all this, again, with this weather conditions and this throwing it off, he said, let me just go get 5 in the boat, and I can calm down and fish the rest of the day, because he knew it was going to be tough. Right. And he did that. The first 2 mornings, he said, Kevin, I caught one every cast.
Right.
For 30 minutes, 45 minutes, however long they were there. He was catching them, 25 to 30 foot deep on several different baits. He used a drop shot and a spoon type bait to kind of get the fish going. He said, once I got them going and caught a few and kind of got them fired up, he said, I fired the Carolina rig in there with the V&M pork shad and Gleason's candy. And he caught a little bit better quality.
Yeah.
And that's what, each day, the first 3 days, he had 12, 13 pounds in an hour.
Right.
And, really got him going, and he was able to concentrate on big fish the rest of the day, about 4 or 5 hours. And if you got 4 or 5 hours on Rayburn just to concentrate on catching 1 or 2 big fish,
yes,
you got a chance to really do something then.
Well, we both know that you fish differently when you get that limit in the live well early. I don't care if it's 10 pounds. If you get 5 fish in the boat early in an event, you just tend to fish differently. You tend to slow down. You tend to make better decisions. You're not in panic mode. Okay, I got to at least get a limit. What do I need to do here? you just tend to fish differently. You tend to fish more relaxed.
And this allowed Daryl, he was up by the 147 bridge, his deep spot, catching all those numbers. And he felt like he could catch some big fish in the other arm, up by Miller's, Lane Creek, Buck Bay. He felt like he's like,
right.
I feel like I can get some big bites over there. I just don't know if I can go over there and get 5.
Yeah.
So he runs up to 147 and gets his good limit every morning, kind of gets him going, kind of gets the juices flowing. And he would run all the way back around to the other arm by Lane Creek, Buck Bay over there, to try to get his big fish bite. And it paid off. The first day, he had a 6-pounder. Let's just be honest, he got lucky and caught a 6-pounder on his deep school that he hadn't really caught any big fish there. It was just 2.5, 3-pounders.
Right.
He caught a 6-pounder there. And then late that day, over around by Buck, he had another deep spot. He stopped and hit, and he had a 7-pounder. That's when he had 21 pounds. Day 2, he went to a starting spot, got a good limit, went back up, went shallow, had 4 or 5 hours. He made a huge coil, had a 5-pounder late in the day. He caught shallow.
Right.
So being able to get that limit and go hunting for big fish. I know on Championship Sunday, he was able to go flip hay, which something he hadn't done all week.
Right.
But again, he was looking for a big fish.
And congratulations, to especially all the top 10 guys, to start the year off in this level of fishing, FLW Tour, to start the year off and get good checks, 14,000 all the way up to 100,000. Kevin, it makes your year go so much smoother and so much better when you get off to a good start.
It really does. I mean, Steve, all these guys are fishing for the paycheck, of course, but they're also fishing for points for ALY. So these guys...
And trying to get the FLW championship.
Correct. Yeah. So they've got the mojo going in the right direction, going into the Harris chain. I think in a month they're going to be there. So they've got, fishing is all about momentum.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And they've got the right momentum now moving forward to the second event.
And speaking of momentum, this guy right here, the Bass Carhartt College Series tournament was held on Toledo Bend this past weekend as well. College Series took place over there. This young man I had on another show about hooking up and tracking down, I had Cody Huff on. He was the national champion last year for the College Series, and he actually showed up at this event, him and his partner Dakota Pierce from Bethel University. And lo and behold, Kevin, they go in there and Cody wins. Him and his partner win another big event.
Steve, this kid is the real deal.
He
really is. I talked to him last year. ICAST, I believe it was, or the Classic, one of them. I don't remember when I talked to him. And just talking to him, he's got it. He's got that confidence. He knows what he's doing. Steve, these two kids caught what they 60 pounds in 3 days worth of fishing.
Yeah.
In 40 to 60 foot of water.
Really?
That's impressive.
Were they dragging the Carolina rig?
No, they were using their Garmin. They got out by the river channel, the river swings, finding bait. And when they found the bait, you could see, with the Garmin, you can see them down there. You can see the fish 15, 20 feet in front of you.
Right.
They'd see the fish, they'd see the bait, then they'd see the fish with it, and they throw a spoon over to it and just basically, get it down to the right depth and hop it in front of them, and they'd eat it. So to be able to do that on a lake that you're not very familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if either one of them's ever been on Toledo Bend in their life, but to be able to come here, use your electronics like that, and to do what they did on the amount of pressure that was on the lake, because you had college and high school going on, or high school practicing
Plus,
anyway.
you had guys practicing for the FLW Series
starting
next weekend.
Week. Absolutely. So,
but they won at 19-11, day 2, 19-13. Day 3, 20 pounds, 15 ounces. I mean,
you can't get any more consistent than that.
That was impressive to me, especially when we actually interviewed a guy, Tommy Martin. The legendary Tommy Martin was at an event that me and Kevin were at, and Tommy was talking about how tough it is at Toledo Bend. So for these guys, these college guys, it's just a testament to the College Series and the level of these anglers really are. Some of them are really good.
And Steve, being that consistent, they won by 6 pounds.
Exactly.
I mean, second place, Brett Clark, Cody Ross from ETBU, who I know very well. They have 54 pounds.
That's East Texas Baptist, by the way.
And those guys can catch them.
Yeah.
And those two can really, really catch them.
Right.
And, for Cody and Dakota to come down here and to do what they did, it shows how impressive anglers they really are.
Third place was Tanner Ward and Roy Franks from Kent State University. They had a 3-day total of 53-12. And then fourth, Kevin Thaddeus Simmerly and Ethan Shaw from Bryan College were 48-15, and who was fifth?
Ty Cox and Fisher Overton from Blue Mountain College. They're over from Tupelo, Mississippi over there. Ty is actually co-owner of Hammer Fishing Rods, and he's another one of them just college sticks that, him, Cody Huff, there's a lot of these guys, Brett Clark, that I think we're going to be seeing down the road, BASS, FLW, these guys are going to make it, no doubt.
Surprised to see or not surprised that Stephen F. or Northwestern State, Lamar, McNeese, LSU, none of these guys, none of the Louisiana big sticks were –
Here's the deal,
they were way
though,
down the
Steve.
list on this event.
This event was it didn't have local knowledge did not play as much as it normally does.
You attribute that to lake level?
Lake level, there's no hydrilla.
Right.
The lake was down. We had all this water. We had all this rain all of a sudden, so it's on the rise. So local knowledge did not help quite as much as what it would in the past.
Right. Right.
So I think that's kind of what that's what led to those not doing as well as what we normally see them doing on that body of water.
Well, and again, congratulations to all these anglers. Again, this was the first of the series for the BASS Carhartt College Series Challenge. And again, congratulations to all these teams that come out here. And again, East Texas Baptist, the only really local school that did anything out of Marshall, Texas. And so congratulations to those guys as
V&M
well.
guys, by the way, too.
Oh, they're V&M guys. There you go. Well, maybe that was their secret.
Yeah, that's what we're going to say.
That's what we'll say. All right, Ken, let's talk a little high school. We don't have a whole lot to go on here, but we'll do the best we can to wrap up the BASS high school event on Sunday.
All right, so the winners was Maverick Winford and Ian Ratliff, from Atascocita?
Atascocita. Yeah,
Texas.
You said that right.
Texas.
I think you got it right.
They weighed in 18.4. They were in the back of housing throwing a chatterbait, throwing a Carolina rig, and they said they caught fish all throughout the day. Now, second place. Now that was impressive.
Yeah.
Steve, second place, and I didn't get the kid's name. They're from Barb High School down in Lake Charles.
Okay.
Sulphur. They had 15 pounds with 3 fish. They had a 10-pounder.
Yeah.
I mean, coming to Toledo Pen, everybody dreams about getting that 10-pounder, and they did. They come up here, and, they caught it at the right time.
They'll get a replica for that.
They sure will. They sure will. But, I forget how many boats they had, but it was around 200 boats in that event. So, again, when you have 200 boats in a tournament and you got all these, the FLW series guys out there practicing, so first place for high school guys coming with 18.4 is very impressive.
Right. Said 174 boats from 12 different states competed in the one-day high school event. And so the purse was split $6,600 to benefit the high school fishing team. So top 10% of the high school pairings tandems entered, 17 in all earned berths to the Mossy Oak Bassmaster High School National Championship to be held later on in the summer. Date and location for that event will be announced at a later date. So, Kevin, anything else we got tournament-wise we want to talk about?
We got a lot of things coming up. MLF, Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour, and BASS kicks off in a couple weeks. So I know, with both those events coming up, we're really fixing to get into the middle of, professional tournament angling here. So we got some exciting stuff coming up.
It's hard to believe that we're already in the heart of bass fishing. We're not even into February yet, but we are. This year, a lot of tournaments started early. Don't know why some of these circuits fired up as quick as they did, but I don't know if everybody's just excited or if there are just so many tournaments now, Kevin, they're having to start them earlier to get them all in before, let's be honest, the heat of the summertime, a lot of circuits are trying to avoid that June, July, August time period.
They really are. And as soon as hunting season's over, everybody's so eager to get on the water and start fishing. So even though it's pretty cold in January, everybody's so ready to go that, there's so many. The turnouts is way better in January and February than they are in April and May and even June. So, the the tournaments are just following the anglers and letting them tell them what to do.
And what's amazing, especially with this neck of the woods we live in, the water temperature changed, like Sam Rayburn, for example, during this event. When we were there last week, I know I was there for the ABA Open Series, water temps were 60, 61. And by the next weekend, when the FLW guys got there, it was down to 56, 57. So that cold front came through, really dropped, had a cold rain, cooled that water temperature down. And again, that affects the fish. I mean,
it really does.
Especially your shallow fish, it really affects those fish. So,
the thing about fishing this time of year is those fish are so healthy.
Yeah.
So healthy. So, I mean, to put together whereas you might have a 20-pound bag now, come May and June, them same fish might only be 17 pounds. So, you're going to have some heavier stringers this time of year, which, again, gets more people out of the house when they hear about these big stringers being caught. Right.
And as we progress with our show, Tackle Talk Live, we're going to continue. We're going to start having guests on the show to talk about their winnings, how they won these certain events. We'll try to do a good job of bringing the right people on at the right time so that you can get behind-the-scenes information and pertinent information that might help you be a better angler. So till next time, Kevin Jean, V&M General Manager, I'm Bassmaster, as well as Ranger Pro Staffer Steve Graff. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching us. Tune us in Wednesday probably, because we'll have another version released probably Wednesday.
A segment.
Stay tuned for Wednesday for more Tackle Talk Live.